I love how Captain Pike's Star Trek Strange New World Season 3 portrait foreshadows his dark fate. I love how Captain Christopher Pike's Anson Mount new Star Trek Strange New World Season 3 poster foreshadows the dark fate that will eventually befall the USS Enterprise captain. While Star Trek Strange New World Season 3 still doesn't have a release date, Paramount Plus dropped a gorgeous series of 12 new Season 3 Strange New Worlds character posters to tide us over until the season drops later in 2025. The posters include series regulars, which now include Martin Quinn's Lieutenant Montgomery Scott, and recurring guest stars like Carol Kane's Commander Pelia and Melanie Scrofano's Captain Marie Battelle. Anson Mount's new portrait of Captain Pike in Star Trek Strange New World Season 3 resembles Sean Kenny as Fleet Captain Pike in Star Trek, the original series' two-part episode, The Menagerie. Because original Pike actor Jeffrey Hunter would not return after 2's pilot episode, The Cage, Sean Kenny was hidden under heavy makeup representing disfiguring Delta radiation. The color and placement of purple lighting on Mount's face echoes Kenny's makeup from Star Trek, the original series, making Pike's new poster a clever artistic allusion to the accident Pike will suffer in the future. Even though we already knew what would happen to Captain Pike in Star Trek, the original series, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, made Pike's story compelling by letting Pike himself in on the secret. After witnessing a vision of his future in an encounter with a Klingon time crystal in Star Trek Discovery Season 2, Episode 12, Through the Valley of Shadows, Pike spent the first season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds wrestling with his seemingly preordained fate. In Strange New Worlds' second season, Pike accepted his future and took more risks because Pike knew he wouldn't die yet. Captain Pike may not be the only Star Trek Strange New Worlds character whose fate is foreshadowed by the new Strange New Worlds Season 3 portraits. Melanie Scrofano's Captain Marie Battelle even getting a portrait seems to indicate that she'll survive Strange New Worlds Season 2 cliffhanger ending, but the fear in Battelle's eyes and the stark half-light on her face suggest it won't be easy. Melissa Navy as Lieutenant Erica Ortegas is the only subject looking down, which makes me wonder if Ortegas might not make it to Strange New Worlds Season 4. Of course, the new posters aren't all bad news for Star Trek Strange New Worlds characters, especially those who are destined to stay with the USS Enterprise on its next 5-year mission. A curved golden light on Celia Rose Gooding's Ensign Uhura resembles Nichelle Nichols' Uhura earpiece in Star Trek, the original series. Both Pelia and Chapel will have to leave the Enterprise, and both are lit in bright pink. Ethan Peck's Spock, Paul Wesley's L.T. James T., Kirk, and Martin Quinn's Scotty all have blue lights over their eyes, all gazing upward to the future of Star Trek Strange New Worlds USS Enterprise. Captain Christopher Pike has always been a tragic figure in the Star Trek universe. Long before Strange New Worlds launched him into fan-favorite territory, longtime Trekkies already knew his destiny, a horrifying accident that would leave him paralyzed, mute, and confined to a life support chair. Yet what makes Strange New Worlds so fascinating is how it lets us watch Pike grapple with that inevitability, not just as a plot device, but as an emotional anchor that defines his character arc. And in Season 3, a single piece of imagery stands out above the rest, the hauntingly symbolic portrait of Pike unveiled in the season premiere. Subtle yet striking, this portrait doesn't just serve as a vanity piece or Starfleet honor. It's a chilling foreshadowing of the dark fate that looms over the beloved captain. The portrait's composition, stillness in command. At first glance, the portrait seems like a conventional tribute to a decorated Starfleet officer. Pike sits poised in his chair, dressed in the vibrant mustard gold uniform, radiating the authority and confidence expected of a captain. The lighting is soft but centralized, casting shadows that emphasize his strong jawline and steely eyes. His expression is calm but not content. There's a weight in his gaze, a quiet resignation. He looks straight ahead, yet somehow seems to see far beyond the present. That visual stillness is what makes the image so impactful. Pike isn't depicted in motion, mid-command, or mid-battle. He's frozen, as if time itself has paused around him. And that's precisely where the tragedy begins to whisper. The composition eerily echoes the fate that awaits him, a future where his mobility, speech, and agency will be lost, leaving only the man inside, watching the world from a prison of his own body. It's not just an homage. It's a warning. Pike's burden, destiny as a character trait. Unlike most Starfleet captains who face the unknown with optimism and flexibility, Pike is unique in that he knows exactly how and when he will die, or worse, how he will live after the accident. This knowledge defines every command he gives, every crew member he mentors, and every risk he takes. The portrait is a visual metaphor for this weight. By the time we reach Season 3, we've seen Pike wrestle with this destiny in increasingly nuanced ways. He's tried to outrun it, accept it, and even use it as a guide for making selfless decisions. But the portrait marks a shift. It doesn't depict the Pike who's fighting fate. It captures the Pike who is beginning to live alongside it. There's resolve in his eyes, but also sorrow, a balance of pride in service and fear of entrapment. That duality is what makes this portrait not just a piece of decor, but a piece of character storytelling. Symbolism in the details. What makes Strange New Worlds such a delight for longtime fans is its commitment to visual storytelling, and this portrait is full of layered symbolism. Consider the uniform. It's pristine, without a single mark or wrinkle. That could signify honor, but it also suggests a kind of artificiality. Pike at his most idealized, frozen in an image that denies the messiness of his internal conflict. Then there's the background. Some eagle-eyed fans notice the faint starscape behind him doesn't match any current region the Enterprise is exploring. Instead, it resembles the Talos system, where Pike will ultimately find both his greatest tragedy and his only hope for peace. Could this be a clue? A subconscious link to the only place where Pike will ever escape his fate, through illusion? It's a subtle nod, but one that deepens the narrative connection between the Pike we see now and the one who will one day be lost to time, memory, and myth. A reflection of his crew's awareness. Perhaps the most haunting aspect of the portrait is what it says to Pike's crew. They don't know the specifics of his future, but many of them sense that something weighs heavily on their captain. Spock, Una, and M'Benga in particular have all shared moments with Pike where his quiet grief has cracked through his optimism. The presence of the portrait on the ship, and Pike's own uneasy relationship with it, serves as a constant visual cue to everyone aboard. Their captain is a man marked by time. When they glance at it, they may see strength. But Pike sees a mirror of the man he's afraid to become. It's not just about hero worship. It's about memory, mortality, and the tragedy of being admired for a future you cannot escape. Art as foreshadowing, a Trek tradition, Star Trek has always used visual cues to hint at deeper themes. From Picard's flute in the Inner Light to Sisko's baseball in Deep Space Nine, physical objects often carry emotional resonance far beyond their immediate context. Pike's portrait joins this lineage with quiet power. Its placement within the ship, often captured in passing shots or moments of reflection, underscores how deeply Pike's fate permeates Strange New Worlds. Every time the camera lingers on it, even for a second, it reminds viewers of the ticking clock in Pike's soul. It's as if the show is saying, "This is the man we will lose. Cherish him while he's here." A tragic hero in full view, Christopher Pike may not have started as a